Good morning, everyone. This is Larry Cedar here for another session on Sqanning, Sqanning, the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical and mental calm. I have been doing these sessions at around 11 o'clock, but I am switching up a little bit today. I'm starting a little early. It is just after 9:30, and it is Thursday, April 23rd. I have some things I need to get to, so I thought we'd just jump in early today. I hope if you've been joining me, I hope you've been enjoying these sessions. I will be moving them all eventually over to the Sqanning page on Facebook. I've started a separate page. Just look it up, Sqanning. I'd love it if you just went over there and liked the page and followed it, because eventually I'd like to move all those sessions off of my personal Facebook page and just onto the Sqanning page. So hoping you'll do that. Again, that's just Sqanning on Facebook. Love it for you to go over there, like the page, and follow. But in the meantime, today we're just going to do a quick session. I keep trying to pare down the amount I talk about the technique and just show you the technique, practice this technique in these sessions. Good morning, Janet. I see I got some people here already. Thanks for coming. I'm trying to just pare it down to just practicing the technique. There's a lot of theory behind it, a lot of ideas, but I think it's most practical in these sessions if we just practice the technique. And you can go back and look at previous sessions or text me any questions you have. Private message me and we can get into that. The main fundamental, basis for the technique is the incremental release of muscular tension. It's the basis of the whole technique. The theory being that we carry around with us a lot of physical tension. We are made of flesh and blood, and we just carry a lot of tension, and that translates into mental tension as well. If you think of the brain as a muscle of sorts, it gets contracted as well, and by that I mean overwrought with thoughts and worries and so forth. So what we're trying to do, my theory, my goal in life, you might say, is to study, become an expert at, and convey to you a technique by which you can release this muscular tension. The benefit? A clearer mind, a more relaxed body, a healthier body, a more responsive body, a less clouded sensibility, an increased ability to face life with clarity and understanding and not be tied up in your own thoughts, a more centered, peaceful sense of being. That's the goal. I've experienced it enough from this practice to realize it has great benefits. And as again, you might say I've dedicated my life to the practice of this incremental release of muscular tension because I've just seen the benefits in my work and in my life. That said, let's get started. And again, we can go into theory at other times, but I want to get right to it today. Take your hands, put them together, and squeeze. Now release. And squeeze, and release. Now, my favorite author, on whose ideas I base a lot of this technique, is a man named Thaddeus Golis. And you can pick up his book. It's called The Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment. And his basic premise in the book was that the entire universe is founded on two basic actions, contraction or expansion. Everything you encounter in life, everything you see, everything you think about, everything you do, everything you create is either contracting or expanding. And to live this life, we need to have a balance of both, contraction and expansion. You can't be completely expanded. That's space. You've dissipated, you've disappeared. You can't be complete contraction because then you become imploded. You're so hard and rigid that you can't function in life. You can't merge with others and do the things we need to do. So if the premise of all life is contraction and expansion, and we tend in life to move towards contraction excessively because we're trying to create, we're trying to have a good life, we're trying to build things, we're trying to have things and possess and know things, contraction becomes the dominant force. We get, however, too contracted. The purpose of this technique, what I call sqanning, the incremental release of muscular tension, is to arm you with a tool that will allow you to reverse that process, to go from contraction to expansion, to open up, to release, to relax, to let go, to become still, calm, and basically free. That's all this is. So if the hands serve as a metaphor for that process, contraction and expansion, then that's where we're going to start. We're going to use the hands as a metaphor for how those forces operate within our own bodies and see if we can't work ourselves into a greater state of expansion or release just by becoming aware of the difference. So clasp your hands together and squeeze them. That's contraction. See what that feels like. 90% of this technique is heightened awareness, is becoming aware of those differences in your body, is tuning into when you are contracted and when you are expanded, noticing the difference, becoming self-aware so that you can direct yourself into a place of greater expansion on demand when you need to. So clasp your hands, and on my count, completely release. 3, 2, 1, release. Take a deep breath. Exhale. This is a very important first step to this process. Pay very close attention to what just happened. You just went from a state of contraction to expansion. Very slight, very subtle, what I call incremental release, but enough for you to notice a change. So pay attention to that change. I just want you to take a minute and register where in your body these changes occurred, how they felt. Well, as compared to contraction, you're certainly not having to make any effort anymore. When you let go, you've stopped efforting. So that's the big change. You've stopped making an effort. You've just let yourself be. That's the fundamental difference. So let's do it again. Clasp the hands together. That's contraction. Feel what that feels like. You have to make an effort. You may be holding your breath a little bit. It takes concentration. It takes a little bit of will. We're just clasping the hands, but it's, again, a metaphor. On my count, release. 3, 2, 1, release. Notice the change. Deep breath. And I don't want to oversimplify it, but then I do want to oversimplify. That's the technique. That is the technique. The only difference in the way I'm going to continue to expand on the technique is the area of body we're working on. Everything else is the same. It's setting up a contraction, inducing a release. Taking a breath, because that's a confirmation of what you just did, and then taking 10, 15 seconds to just register, sit very still, very quiet, and register how your body changed. So you are becoming a student in the process of relaxation. You are going to become eventually an expert in the process of release and relaxation or expansion. They're all basically the same thing. And the way you're going to become an expert is by practicing this technique over and over and over again. So that relaxation, release, letting go, stillness, going to nothingness, just being, becomes a part of your life. Equally as important as any other pursuit you may have. Teaching, working, eating, relationships, building things, arguing, thinking about things. All of these are external processes and contractions. We're bringing together ideas, thoughts, materials. This process, scanning, is the reverse of that. It's expansion. It's letting go. It's dropping any effort, any compulsion. So we're developing that skill. You've always had it. We all have it. But we've been propagandized, you might say, by life to think that that's not as important as pursuing things, as making an effort, as thinking, as building. Trust me, releasing, letting go is equally important. If you buy into the idea, which I do, that the universe is a vacillation constantly between contraction and expansion, and that you must have both to have a balanced life, then you must not forget about this side of yourself. Expansion, letting go, just being, still, quiet, nothingness, emptiness. I cannot tell you how valuable, how important stillness and quiet are to your life. If you do nothing else, if you learn nothing else from these lessons, if you take away nothing but that a few minutes a day, I should drop everything and just sit in stillness and quiet, you will have learned a lot. Because stillness and quiet are a representation of release, letting go, dropping, coming to nothing, just being. So, if you only take that away from this lesson today, I will be thrilled. If you only take away a consciousness that nothingness, stillness has value, I will be thrilled. And I say I will be thrilled because this is a process I'm still very much involved in my life. And I could be doing this now on my own. I could be sitting for half an hour doing it on my own, but I find it very rewarding to validate the process by sharing it with you because I truly believe it's valuable. So this is all we're going to do now in terms of explanation. I've talked already too much. Let's get back to it. Clasp your hands together. Nice grip. Concentrate on what it feels like to exert contraction. The muscles can only do two things, contract or release. That's all your muscles can do. That's why we practice it this way. It's the simplest approach to calming yourself. Use the muscles. to teach you where to go. Clasp, and on my count, release. 3, 2, 1, release. Deep breath. Now, step 3, just scour your body mentally. Find how your body has changed. Study. Does my chest feel a little bit more relaxed? Am I breathing a little more deeply? Am I having sensations in my skin, in my joints, in my extremities that I wasn't feeling a minute ago? In other words, am I coming back into my body? Am I feeling a slight throbbing as the blood flow increases into my extremities, my feet, my hands, my face, my head, my neck? Do I feel different? Yes. It may only be, as I say, an incremental change, but that's all that's required. It's a flip of a switch. You're going from efforting to reaching out externally for satisfaction, to switching, to letting go, and finding peace and calm within. It's a decision you've made. You can do it for a minute, you can do it for 5 minutes, a half an hour, but practicing making that decision is the complete technique. Because by making the effort to switch gears, to switch directions, you've awakened that part of you that knows the value of this sort of calm and stillness. We forget. We just forget. I'm not sharing anything with you that you don't already instinctively know. We all know that sometimes all the things we're pursuing have very little value and that they're hurting us. And that if we just stop and let go and just sit and be still and quiet, we will heal ourselves. We know that. It's just a matter of building the discipline to take that step. Which begs the obvious question, if it feels so good, if it's so good for us, why wouldn't we just do it? Because letting go is frightening. It's scary. We hold on to our money, our food, our pursuits, our jobs, our thoughts, because we think they're making us secure and safe. And to a degree, they obviously do. But holding too tightly strangles you. But we're afraid to let go because we feel like we'll become nothing if we do. But we have to take that step. You have to take that risk. And all you have to do, squeeze your hands together. And on your own count, 3, 2, 1, release. You've done it. You've made the decision to value the process of release, of letting go, of just being, of nothingness. You've taken 1 minute, 5 minutes, a half an hour, and you've said, this is worth my time. Study how that feels. Aside from the nervousness that you feel from letting go, there's nothing that can feel bad about letting go. Your muscles relax, you breathe more freely, your heart pounds more freely, the blood circulates more freely. And I will tell you this, and this is very important. I believe it is impossible to have your mind clouded with thoughts when you are putting your full concentration into the musculature. I just think it's a factor of the body. You can't be concentrating fully on relaxing and releasing some muscle in your body and have thoughts, worrisome thoughts at the same time. So you've literally calmed your mind just by concentrating on the release of those muscles. Many, many benefits. Let's do it again. Clasp your hands together. 3, 2, 1, release. Let that sense of release pass through your body like a drop of food dye spreading through a glass of water. You know, you have a glass of water and you put a drop of food coloring in it and it just disperses. That's what you've done. When you do this release, 3, 2, 1, release. You've literally dropped a drop of relaxation into your body and it's just spreading. The body's all connected. What happens here is felt there and there and there. There's nothing you could do to any part of your body that doesn't affect the rest of your body. Let's do it again. Clasp your hands together. 3, 2, 1, release. Deep breath. Study. What just changed? Acknowledge, validate, confirm, register those changes. That's where we're headed. And it will get deeper and deeper. Your sense of relaxation will get deeper and deeper, not just as you practice over days and months and years, but right now. From the time we started to now, I guarantee you, you've released at least 1% of the tension in your body. That's all you need. All you need is the acknowledgement that you can do it and that it's important. Clasp your hands together. 3, 2, 1, release. Study, If in your journey through your body with your mind you find a pocket of tension you become aware of, give yourself your own count. Perhaps it's the face. 3, 2, 1. Release the tiniest amount of tension in that area. Let's move through other areas of the body. The top of the head. Register the tension in that area. 3, 2, 1. Release. Move to the back of the head. 3, 2, 1. Release. You've now done the whole skull, the neck. 3, 2, 1. Release. The shoulders. 3, 2, 1. Release. Let them drop. Deep breath. The front of the body. The chest down into the stomach and waist. 3, 2, 1. Release. The back into the pelvis. 3, 2, 1. Release. And I want to note, which I always do, that in the pelvis, not to get too personal, but this is a very sensitive region. It's the area of, shall we say, elimination and sexuality. You hold tension in those areas. It's human, it's normal to be insecure about those areas. Those are very vulnerable areas. So be very conscious that you can release tension in those areas incrementally. It's scary to release tension. It's scary to let go. But if you just do the tiniest amount and see that you can do it, you'll feel amazing benefits. The legs and the feet. 3, 2, 1. Release. Now the whole body on my count. 3, 2, 1. Release. Take stock of the changes that have occurred in your body. If I had to assess, I would say I've released 10% of the tension in my body. But it is monumental because I carry a lot of tension. That's why I'm developing this technique, because I needed a cure for myself. And when I can feel like I'm settled more comfortably in my seat, when I have dropped the compulsion to go anywhere, do anything, think about anything, when I can just be, it's like nirvana. So never underestimate the value of even the tiniest release of muscular tension. There's a story I want to tell you that I thought I'd start today's session with, but I forgot. I'm a big mixed martial arts fan. I'm a big fan of the fighting sports, which people think is strange. They never expect it of me, but I find it fascinating, the discipline. When mixed martial arts first started, one of the first matches I ever watched was a Russian fighter, a man who specialized in the art of Sambo, fighting a man named Tank Abbott, who was what they call a striker. Tank Abbott was a big, scary guy, and they were sure that Tank was going to destroy this Russian fighter, this what they call Sambo fighter. And the Sambo fighter easily defeated him. And I thought, this guy's insane. He's so great. How did he do it? So powerful. He's so muscular. Incredible. This guy's in great shape. How did he do it? He must be just a monster. Well, oddly enough, the next day I was at Universal Studios with my kids. And I ran into this fighter, this Sambo fighter who was just there seeing the park while he was here in the United States. And I said, I saw your fight. You're amazing. And he said, thank you. And he put out his hand to shake my hand. And I, expecting this massive grip, took a hold of his hand, and it was soft as cotton. His grip was like a baby's. And I remember thinking, how is it possible that this guy who's so at peace, so calm, so centered, so still, who doesn't seem to have an ounce of tension in his body, was such a powerful fighter, summoned such strength and such clarity of mind that he could, tactically defeat this massive, frightening fighter, Tank Abbott. And I realized the value of calm, the value of release, the value of quiet and stillness. This guy had obviously not only gotten his musculature in shape, but he had also practiced the art of relaxation, because he realized that in fighting in life, you are so much more successful when you can approach life in a calm, released, expanded fashion. And it always struck me, I never forgot that handshake, how soft and calm and still this fighter, extreme fighter was. And I took that with me. And I took that into my work. And I said, as an actor, I would like to approach my work as an actor in as calm and as still and as clear-minded a fashion as possible, because I believe I will be that much more effective. And in my life, I would like to practice my voiceovers. I would like to practice my relationships, my work around the house, everything with a calm, centered state of being, because I will be that much more effective. In addition to which, I will be happier. I won't be as tormented by thoughts, racked with physical tension. I have come to see physical muscular relaxation as a miracle cure. I'm not overestimating at that. I practice it thousands of hours, and I'll be a student of it the rest of my life because I don't think you can ever completely master it. Life requires too much effort, too much muscular effort. You're always going to drift into a state of contraction. It's natural. In your pursuit of money and success and relationships and life, you have to make an effort. That's fine. What I've discovered is you must also have a balanced life and come back to a place of complete release, relaxation, calm, stillness. One enhances the other. If there wasn't contraction, there couldn't be expansion. They're codependent. All I'm trying to do is balance my life, and hopefully yours, by making you aware of how we get too far to one side and we have the skills to bring ourselves back. That's all this is. You're not going to, quote unquote, achieve anything, but you will hopefully find your center, find your balance through this very, very simple technique. Contraction, expansion, breathe, register the change, and sit in it. Let's say you're a salesman and your route has 10 stops: St. Louis, Seattle, Denver, Los Angeles. I could go on. Well, you have a lot of stops. You're a salesman in life and you go to a lot of places to make your sales. And I'm saying, don't forget this place. Add another stop to your route, a place where you just go. And if you're a salesman, there could be a place where you go. It could be Cambria in California. You make that part of your route. What do you do in Cambria? Well, you don't sell, you don't push, you don't agitate, you don't overthink. When you go to Cambria, at that stop, you do nothing. That's equally important. That stop, that place where you go to release, to bring balance back into your life, should be very much a part of your life. I just don't want you to forget its value. You build it into your day, into your week, into your month, into your life. This process of release can become more and more a part of your life. And you will be more tuned into that balance, and you will be able to realize sooner when you've pushed too far in the direction of contraction, and you will be able to dial yourself back. That's the skill we forgot. And I wanted to be able to do that without having to take a shot of whiskey or smoke a joint or do some other crazy thing, which I knew instinctively wasn't probably really good for me. I wanted to be able to do it myself. That's why I developed this tool. I wanted to be able to do it without spending thousands of dollars on a trip to Hawaii. I wanted to be able to do it in my room at 3 p.m. after a hard day, anytime I wanted, for absolutely free and totally within my control. So I never had to call anybody. I never had to open a book. I never had to open an app. I never had to go to the internet. Didn't have to go on television. I could create this sense of calm and stillness myself, for myself. We all deserve that. We all deserve a moment of peace and quiet and stillness, a moment where we come back to just being, where we rediscover ourselves. So let's do this a few more times. Have I gone over? I think I'm okay. I'm trying to keep it within 30 minutes. I got a few more minutes. Let's do it a couple times more. Again, it's called Sqanning, Sqanning, the incremental release of muscular tension for the purpose of achieving a deep state of physical and mental calm. And remember, the mind follows the body. So we're working on the body. And when the body becomes calm, the mind will follow. So don't worry about the mind. It will follow. Please visit my Facebook Sqanning page, Sqanning. I'd love it if you if you liked it and followed it. I will eventually be moving all these sessions over there, but for now I'm starting on Facebook and then I repost here and there. And I also have a YouTube page, Sqanning, Sqanning. These lessons will always be free. I will never charge for these lessons. How can you charge for something which people innately already know? I do this because I enjoy sharing the process and because it confirms for me its value, and I plan on doing this for the rest of my life. Take your hands, clasp them together, contract. This is what we call contraction. The two forces in the universe, contraction and expansion. Everything is either contracting or expanding or some combination of both. We're using the hands as a metaphor. Clasp them together. 3, 2, 1, release. Let that sense of release pass through your body like a drop of dye spreading through a glass of water. Deep breath. And now, most importantly, because scanning is the process of increasing your awareness, tune into exactly what that change feels like. How did that slight incremental release of muscular tension change your sense of being. And sit in that still, quiet place. You no longer have a compulsion to go anywhere or do anything. There's nothing you need to think about at this moment. You can take the luxury of just sitting in stillness and enjoying your sense of pure being. And in that moment, if you discover a pocket of tension somewhere, 3, 2, 1, let it go. Go into your face, the top of your head, the back of your head, your neck, your shoulders, your chest and stomach, your back and pelvis, your legs and your feet. Go into those areas and direct your body to let go. This is what we're trying to encourage. The sense that you have the power to change your own state of being through a very simple method. Anytime, anywhere, no one even has to know you're doing it. You could be sitting in a room somewhere and just 3, 2, 1, release. And that's it. That is today's session. I'll just say for one last reminder, I'd love it if you went over to the Sqanning Facebook page, Sqanning, liked it, followed it. As soon as I get enough followers over there, I will begin doing the sessions there specifically. I will, for now, just repost this session here and there and on the YouTube page, Sqanning. But eventually we'll focus just on that one page. Thank you so much for visiting. I hope you feel better. That's the goal. We all want to come back into ourselves. We want to drop our worries and concerns. There's a lot to worry about these days, but we can all afford a few minutes, a half an hour to come back to ourselves, remember who we are, why we're wonderful, why you deserve to love yourself and be at peace. And that's all. Have a great day. Bye. See you next time.